4, actually. It's doing 4 and about 12 or so on peaks. And that's that.
Yep. Looks like... Oh, I have about... Oh, that can't be right. Well, maybe 10 watts driving the YC156 to peaks. You know, my peak reading meter isn't working tonight, but it says the little Chinese MOSFETs are doing about 10 watts.
One of the reasons I went with this PAL-Star is because of the amount of gain it has with relatively low drive. Because I run a lot of keyboard-to-keyboard digital modes, and on long overs, it's really about the same duty cycle as this anyway. And this thing will run 100 watts maximum, basically, PEP on digital. I can have it running for minutes at a time. And then it's doing pretty well here. If I keep it fairly cool down 100 for carrier, it'll hold up to pretty decent length transmissions. I'm not that adjusted to buzzarding the transmissions anyway, so I think this is going to work out pretty good.
Yeah. Well, when I'm running the Viking 2 by itself, that's unlimited. You know, I could key it up and go on vacation and come back and check on it. It'll be fine. Connor's in the chat, W4IPC. I just started the live stream. And the YC156, I have the proper amount of airflow on it. There's literally like an air handler. Well, it's from a television transmitter. It looks like one of those mushroom fans you'd find on top of a building or something. It's probably about 1.5 feet, 2 feet in diameter. Sits right on the top of it, and it moves just a tremendous amount of air. And that's working in tandem with, like, you know, a regular, like, house-sized blower like you'd have on your furnace downstairs, in kind of a push-pull. So the house blower pushes air up through the tube cavity, and that huge air handler on top pulls it all through, and it dumps it out into the room that the transmitters are in right now. So it'll usually get up, you know, it's 73 degrees at the operating position, and if I wander in there, it'll probably be about 90 degrees. Even just running the filaments on that thing, it heats up, you know, a couple degrees. So, but yeah, airflow, that's the trick. W2 BTK.
Yeah, the remote operating that you have set up is pretty sweet. I'd love to stuff my power supply in the amplifier in the basement. I could do it, actually. I just need to make myself, you know, some remote switching to flip the power on. And I think the amplifier, there's a way I can run a USB cable off it to get its display remoted as well. So I'd be able to keep an eye on it. But that would be pretty sweet, because it would just be, you know, really, really quiet in here otherwise. I'm actually thinking about, it's an Astron 50 amp switching supply I use here just for general 12 volt. And it was a mistake because the fans are just stupidly loud. So I'm actually thinking about putting it on the shelf as a spare and going back to a linear supply, because it just drives me crazy. The amplifier is actually quieter until it gets to like stage 2 than my 12 volt supply is. It's kind of annoying, and there's no real way, you know, if I do anything to sound isolate, I'm gonna, you know, close the air in on both of them, and it'll just make it hotter. KC2 RGW.
Yeah, remoting the station is like the best thing I've done, man. It kicks ass, I gotta say. Not having to be around that noise, A, and the heat, B, it's cool. But, you know, it gets annoying when I'm running the Viking and I want to change frequencies. I've got to go into the other room to operate the VFO. And it just kind of sucks. But now with this new exciter, I mean, I showed you, look, I'm on 73, now I'm on 72, now I'm on 71, 2, 3, 4, 3. So I could do that all the way up to 3.3 gigahertz. I don't think my amp would be very happy about that, but hey, the exciter could do it.
So is that the first thing that you're using? It's the exciter now too?
Well, yeah, I'm just using the vector signal generator as a straight-up exciter. So if I feed identical signals to the I and Q, it just makes regular AM. So that's it. I'm actually only feeding the I channel right now with audio from my rack, and I'm using an analog modulation scheme within the exciter, and then, you know, I can switch to vector modulation, digital modulation, make complex AM, independent sideband, all that kind of stuff. So it's really pretty cool. The bandwidth is basically unlimited. The limiting factor is your sound card. Mine runs at 192 kilohertz, so you're an audio guy, you know about the Nyquist limit, so I can do about 96K wide. If I had something that was 96K wide, it would do it. And you know, if I throw more audio at this thing, I could do 1,000% positive modulation. Like, there's just no limits anywhere on this thing. Like, it's nothing. You can basically do anything with it. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think you explained it when the digital signals went that part of what you were saying. I think that's what you said before. I missed it earlier. I didn't put all the pieces together. But yeah, you wouldn't know you were doing it. Like, it sounds totally fine, that's for sure. So there's no weird artifact to the way it sounds or anything. I know the audio is separate, but it doesn't seem to be affecting anything.
Yeah, pretty much. It should be pretty clean. It'll make absolutely perfect spotless AM with whatever the hell you feed it. So I have quite a bit of modulation right now, like quite a bit. So hopefully that sounds okay, but you know, it's not gonna cause any splatter or anything. It'll just, I could sit here and transmit square waves with the damn thing if I wanted to. It's just quadrature modulation, you know, it makes perfect AM no matter what you feed it.
Yeah, nice. This thing is pretty bulletproof. All you have to do is get a little bit of fundamental understanding and you're off and running. It's just a matter of how you want the voice to sound when it comes out. It's pretty sweet. It's a nice appliance. Made it easy for me.
Yep. It's nice to have something finally with like a completely flat frequency response. That Viking 2 had a little bit of its own frequency response, and I'm sure I could have messed with, bypass caps or like, this here and this there and that thing to completely flatten the response, but this thing just does it. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I can see a little tiny tick forward on the average power, so I know that I got a bunch of modulation, bunch of audio on the carrier. I could probably reduce that a little bit, but if it sounds okay, I'm just going to leave it.
Yeah, you might be hitting it a little hard. It has a little bit of an edge on it, but we're a good distance away. It's hard to tell. You know how QSB shifts the way audio sounds and stuff? It's a little tricky to say for sure. And I don't know what I'm listening to as much as some of the other guys. But if you roll it back a little and then compare, I'll let you know how it sounds. It has a little bit of an edge to it, and I don't know if that's because you're hitting it hard or just the way the synchronous detector is picking it up. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I reduced the audio just a little bit on the carrier. It looks like the negative cycle cleaned up a little bit. It's hard to tell sometimes because it creeps up. This little MOSFET amp creeps up in power a little bit. When I first key up, it's at one place and then it creeps up to where I set it after a couple of seconds. So let me try to knock another 0.6 dB off there. All right, yeah, that's starting to look pretty damn clean. Is it still a little bit edgy? The negative cycle cleaned up a little bit. Not that I was like going over 0 volts or anything before, but it was getting a little bit bright. So now it's right there.
Yeah, it actually did clean it up. So I think that's pretty much right where you want it. Within a hair, anyway. Yeah, that did it. So I think, I'm trying to learn a little bit about what the different characteristics are for different problems, kind of thing. So maybe it was too much negative modulation that was doing it, but that sounds better there.
I also still have to adjust the bias on these little MOSFETs. I didn't screw with that at all. I just kind of plugged the thing in and started using it. So I'm sure that could clean it up a little bit too. But the final stage is really super clean. I'm just hoping that this little Chinese MOSFET amp doesn't have any harmonics or anything. It doesn't seem to. Seems pretty clean. The listing said, like, you know, broken English, like, if use transmitter 40 watt, need low pass filter. So I'm not anywhere near that. I got about, 10 watts out of it. So hopefully at that level, it should be pretty spectrally okay.
Yeah, I just panned out, so I'm looking at like 3,700 to 3,900. So just within this space anyway, there's none of the, I have my share of birdies and stuff kicking around, but I didn't see any other like carrier fronts dropping when you unkeyed, so there's nothing really nasty going on. I can't tell you if it's clean for sure, but there's nothing super obvious going on that I can see from here at least.
Yep. No, it seems like it's working okay. And, you know, it's making a decent amount of power between the two amplifier stages. You know, I wish my peak reading meter was working a little better, but I don't know. What does that say? 150. It's a hair over 150 watts carrier, so pretty much no matter what I do, I think I'm safe, you know, unless I really, really modulate the crap out of it. I'll be nice, close to legal limit signal, you know, a little less than legal limit. So who needs more than that, you know? W2 BTK.
Yeah, it's been part of what I've been trying to figure out too is, you know, how much power gets the job done kind of based on band conditions. And, you know, I guess, you know, just like anything else, legal limit. Like if you're not getting it done with a legal limit, I mean, you can always go heavier, sure, but if you're not getting it done, if the propagation's that bad, who else are you going to talk to unless there's another station with that much power, that much more power anyway? And the amount of money it costs you in the electric bill to run much more than that. It just, you know, we're just sitting here talking about nothing. That's what I always remind myself when I'm looking at gear. KC2RGW.
Yep, exactly. So let's see. That's I brought the exciter level up from -17 to minus 16 dBm, and that gave me another 50 watts on the other side. So, oh, excuse me, that gave me another 100 watts on the other side. So that's a 250 watt carrier right there. And well, I don't even know if that would make a noticeable difference. Here, I'm going to knock it back. Yep, that's minus 17 dBm out of the exciter. It knocked it back 100 watts, so that's back at about 150. So, whatever, you know, you're hearing me fine. Here, I'll lower it down one more click. That's minus 18, and that's reading about 75 watts of carrier. So it is what it is. I don't even know if you're seeing a very noticeable difference between all those levels.
Yeah, you went from, at the top, from 20 over to 10 over 9 at the bottom. And there's a little QSP, so it's moving around, but roughly over on it, about 10 over 9 to 20 over 9. And at the lowest setting, there's a hair, it's a hair lower to me audibly, but not a lot. And then in the middle and the high, there's really no difference. It's like I noticed that somewhere around 10 to 15 over, as the band is not terribly noisy under it, you get to a point where it's a little more comfortable signal.
Hey, somebody in my Twitch chat is asking what your first name is. By the way, you know, I'm live streaming on Twitch, so there's a couple of people watching on the internet, chatting, and somebody actually asked KC2RGW, what's his first name?
Oh, my first name is Chris, also known as PewDiePie. I have a stream with my own, maybe you've heard of it.
I like that, but that's not as good as Clark's nickname, which was El Loco Fuego. Man, that is some lightning static. Damn.
Yeah, it's only going to get worse too. It's down around Richmond. It's been almost night after night of like really nasty looking. If you pull up lightning maps, I didn't look in the last few minutes, but about 2 hours ago I was looking, and the band was in super short at like at 4:30, and I was like, it's going to be bad later, as the band stretches out. So now it's picking up all those lightning storms down there. I'll have to pull it up and look. But man, Richmond is just, they've been getting hell from lightning storms for, feels like it's 2 weeks straight. Almost every night a nasty band is going across like North Carolina and Virginia down there.
Yeah, I haven't even been following any of that stuff. I guess it got really windy here last night because I had a couple of branches down in the front yard today. So that's I don't even know. What's this hurricane's name? Everyone keeps talking about it, saying they can't pronounce it, but I don't even know. I haven't even been following. Wine burp.
It's like ECIS. It looks like IAS, but it's Spanish, so all the I's are pronounced like E's, so it's ECIES or something like that. They picked the most unpronounceable name. I always forget you're in New Jersey half the time because your signal's so good up here. So I always forget that, though. The weather's very different.
Yeah, it has been pretty calm. I mean, the sun was out today. It was nice. I guess overnight it got a little bit windy, but, I was snoozing. I'm drinking some wine tonight. I went a little bit cheaper. I think this wine is okay, but, so I'll be really snoozing tonight.
Yeah, if you start to play around with wine, particularly red, you can get a nice bottle under $12. If you just poke around and try a bunch of stuff, you can get real nice bottles. The problem is once people figure it out, then they're $30, and then it's $80 in a restaurant for that same bottle. But you can get real nice bottles for not a whole ton of money. And actually, if you're looking for one that's just like slug it down, sweet style red table wine, the Paisano from Gallo in the half gallons is pretty ridiculous. It's like a Hawaiian punch wine. It's not fine wine, but if you want something slugged down to get the job done, Paisano is real good. It goes great with pasta.
I haven't seen that in the wine store, but I have to look. I usually get Cabernets or red blends if I want something a little sweeter. There's a couple that I really like, and they're not bad. I mean, it's like $12 for those, and they're good wines. But I went with something that was on sale. This bottle was $8. And it's not quite as good as what I usually get. It's a little bit sweeter, probably has more sulfides. Got to drink a bottle of water every time I finish a glass, or else.
Yeah, I like cabs a lot myself. Wines that are dry. I don't like them very sweet most of the time. The Paisano, if you like cabs, the Paisano is like drinking ice or Kool-Aid by comparison. If you haven't really found them yet, look for Argentinian Cabernets. Los Vascos is one of the labels I really like. They just have great cabs. And then the other one that I like is Pinot Noirs, which are a little bit rounder, a little fruitier than a cab, really. Then Willamette Valley from Oregon. The Willamette Valley Pinot Noirs are real nice. KC2RGW.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the cabs are good. I'm not that big on any other kind of wine right now. I just started kind of drinking wine. I wasn't a big drinker until my job, it kind of cramps my lifestyle. I was into like other stuff, as they say, like the devil's lettuce and this and that. So I stopped all that, and I'd be like wide awake when it was time to go to sleep. So I started, having a glass of wine to chill myself out, and I ended up really enjoying it. So I've been having a glass of wine at night, sometimes on the weekends too, or maybe even 3. But that's when things start to get a little loopy.
Yeah, alcohol doesn't. I like alcohol for the fun for 1 or 2, but I don't like getting bent on it. It never did me very well. So it's I had my time with it, but in my teens into my early 20s, and then I finally slowed down on it. But yes, the devil's lettuce. I'm definitely a fan. Massachusetts is fully legal, decriminalized in the free state of New Hampshire, and fully legal, I believe, retail in Maine now. So it's a pretty good thing we got going on up here, and that's the medicine that cures my ailments. That's how I get to sleep up here.
Yep. Well, I think it's decriminalized in New Jersey, but even if they made it completely legal, like my line of work, they would still test for it. They don't want you doing it, and that's going to be that. So any job that wants to check for that, you pretty much got to stop. So that's what I did. The funny thing about that, and I know, like, you do it before bed, and you think it helps you go to sleep, and it does. Like, it chills you way out. But the thing about that is, while that's in your system, your brain never really shuts off, and you'll never reach the deep stages of sleep. Talk to your doctor about it. It's totally true. When I stopped with all that, the quality of sleep that I started getting was insane. Like, I just literally require less sleep now. So that's something to think about. But man, I miss it.
Tea breaks from time to time. Your tolerance goes up, and I'm a light user. I don't get like totally twisted or anything. But I know what you're saying. It does. The dreaming is different with it, but usually it's worn off by the time I go up to go to sleep, or not completely, but so it just takes the edge off. But it's one of the things that it keeps me from thinking about stuff over and over and over again. That's the thing it fixes for me. Like, who knows, whatever random thing was on my mind, I'll try to go to sleep and then think about it. So it was the Anon 7000 for a while, or it was Class E rigs, or that's the way my mind works. If I'm on a topic of like deep interest, I can't shut it off easily. I wind up going down a hole until I get tired of looking at it and exhaust the information. And that's what it does for me, is it shuts that off so that I can actually get to sleep.
Hey, sorry, I'm typing to my chat on Twitch there. If any of you guys want to check out the live stream, it's twitch.tv/amateurradiolive.
And don't forget to click like and subscribe if you like what you heard here tonight. And for all you Patreon members, remember I have an exclusive video that's going to break on Patreon. Probably tomorrow, but it might be Monday. But that's only for my Patreon supporters. KC2RGW.
Yeah, check out Chris's OnlyFans site. That OnlyFans, like the chicks that do that, I think they make a lot of money, man. But that's I don't know. It's really kind of putting yourself out there.
Yeah, I'm aware of what you're talking about. I never actually went to the site to look, but I totally know what you're talking about. It's like the new cam girl site that everyone's using, but they definitely raking on. I've read a bunch of articles, and and some documentaries and stuff on it, and they rake it in. But the problem is, like, they get recognized. So you need to be the best place to be is like Eastern European, so that no one in your village with horse-drawn carts would care. But for just an average chick in the U.S., I mean, pretty big commitment, because you might be in your 20s now, but that stuff's going to follow people, especially now. Like, one thing, like when the internet first started, half of that stuff's gone. But now, forget it. That stuff's forever. So I wonder, they'll make for some good documentaries like 15 years from now. Oh, I shouldn't have done it.
Yeah. It's, it is what it is. It's like weird though, because, like I'm on Twitch and I see some of these chicks on Twitch, they have their live streams and it's pretty PC. You go in there and like talk to them, see what they're doing and this and that. And then like you click on some of that stuff. You see everything. Like, it's just weird. Like, after you've kind of, like, talked to somebody or, like, been in their live stream, like, not that, like, you know them, but you get to know them, like, a little bit, and then you see all that, and it just makes me feel, like, dirty. I'm not into that. I don't usually, like, subscribe to any of that crap.
You got me reading your Twitch feed here. I actually have, do you use OBS Studio to put the feed out? I actually have that here. I use it for work as a goof, and I have actually a whole template in OBS that has me framed in with like crashing waves in the background, and it's a full YouTube wrapper that looks like I'm a soliciting stream. So it's like YouTube, click like and subscribe, Patreon, the whole thing, and I use that in business meetings actually.
Yeah, OBS Studio is great, and like it's so easy. You could just change stuff on the fly. Like I've literally made new scenes like on the fly, change stuff around. It's great because like when the Florida Mullet Net fires up and they start quoruming and all that, I'll pull up the Georgia Web SDR and overlay that onto my stream so you can see like they claim like, oh yeah, sorry, like we couldn't hear you, and then like I've got an overlay of the Web SDR down in Georgia where we're all coming in, plus 10 or plus 15 or whatever, and it just like it's just funny, like that kind of the ability to do that quick on the fly documentation of stuff. And I enjoy, just like pretty much anytime I'm on the radio, I've got the pan adapter, the waterfall, a little bit of extra IF information at the bottom, so you can just like really see what's going on, I was transmitting some digital stuff before, and when I was done, I keyed up with voice and ID'd, so I'm pretty sure that's perfectly fine.
Is that an Audio-Technica 2020, AT2020 used for mic?
It's actually 4040. Out of all those mics, the 4020, 4040, 4060 or whatever, this one had the flattest frequency response, so I really dig it. I used it a lot back in the day, tracking vocals and stuff, and it's a really nice condenser. It's got really good rejection too. I'm snapping right off axis of the mic. It's actually picking it up a little bit, but my voice it's got decent rejection.
The MD421 that I run here, it's cool, and I really like the way it works. I'm running a dynamic because the Palstar is like, I can touch it. It's less than 3 feet away from me at head level so that I can get to it. So the fan is right at mic level. That's the tricky part here. And I have a condenser. The first better mic that I started with was a CAD M177. I don't think they make it anymore, but it was literally closed out from Guitar Center. I think I paid $60 for it. And I like it because for radio, it's much less sensitive than the cheap, like MXL and so forth, condensers. It actually needs a little bit of drive on the input, so it doesn't pick up the room as crazy as some of them do. But I think if I fired that here, it would be just, it would make a racket. You'd hear that gated, like, clutching in and out if I was able to dial it right for all the noise in here, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. Running a condenser is kind of hard on ham radio. Like, I have very little gain on the mic itself. Like, I'm close talking the crap out of it right now. And just for a demonstration, now I'm about 6 inches away. Now I'm about 1 foot away. Now I'm about 2 feet away, 3 feet away. So it's really... well, it's gained up and just to eliminate as much background noise as possible, but still get the nice, crisp highs and frequency response you get from the condenser.
Yeah, it's pretty nice, actually, the way that, for a condenser, for sure, that's actually pretty tight. Like, it's not taking off and bringing a whole room in as much as a lot of them do. And I think it's W4ITC. Yeah, it's a Palstar LA1K. And it seems to happily go along at about, I can run 200 camera if I want to. But for the amount of transmission time that I typically make, versus the temperature climb and the amp draw on it and everything, it'll hold like 100 to 150 carrier pretty comfortably. Much higher, 150, it really starts to get warm quick. And if I was running at 200, the fans would be cranking overtime to keep it cool. So I keep it about 100, 125, somewhere around there. And it's on 7,000 is the radio I'm running here. C2 RGW.
Yeah, W2BTK. Hey, you want to see some digital stuff? I'll do a little bit of IQ modulation. It's pretty funny. There we go. That come through okay?
Yeah. I like that it comes through like someone deranged wrote it, like the wobbly writing kind of makes it. And for the guy with the PW1, the only thing to warn you about, I think the finals and the ICOM PW1 are discontinued. Don't hold me to that, but check that. So you want to be careful that you don't blow that thing up. I think that's one of the ones, it's either that or the Quadra, but I think it's the PW1. They're either very hard to find or maybe they're gone now. And that thing was rated for heavy duty cycle and its time. It was kind of ahead of its time. So that's pretty beefy. You might even be able to get away with more power than I run out of this, maybe. But just check. If that's the one where the finals are getting harder and impossible to get, I don't know if I would want to hammer that on AM.
This SIGGEN, I don't even know. And it, it doesn't really hammer. The little MOSFET amp is just like, cheap parts. I think it was $40 on eBay, and then the YC156, that's not going to blow up. I don't even come close to doing anything that would make that unhappy.
Yeah, no, I just meant your fan stream there. Someone was saying that they were asking about my amp, and they said they had a PW1 ICOM.
Oh, okay. I forgot you're into Twitch.
Yo, Giant, man, thanks for the host.
Yeah, that Giant from Jax. He always hosts my stream, man. He's the man. Nice. Well, it sure is static crashy out here tonight. Still there, Chris?
Yeah, I'm actually signing up on Twitch so I can put myself in the chat.
Oh, nice. Yeah. It's a fun stream, man. I do it every weekend now. When I was laid off from work, I was doing it like every single day. But, now that I'm back to work, I'm up around 3:45 a.m., do a 10-hour day. I get home around like 4:35. And I just don't have enough free time to stream during the week. So I try to do a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night stream because we're on 410s right now. So I'm usually off on Friday, and it works out pretty well. But that's probably going to change a little bit down the road. But for now, trying to make the best of it. Stream any day when I'm not at work, Usually take a Sunday off. Sometimes I go visit my parents or just like clean up the house or do whatever the hell I need to do. But, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of really cool people in here too that I've met, and guys who have gotten licensed and stuff like Tommy, K2TJH. He got his license when he came, when he came in, he was interested in it. And we all kind of pushed him, and he went and got his tech in general at the same time. Just picked up an HT40. My buddy hooked him up with a 3885 crystal and a microphone, and man, he's going to get on the air. And hopefully we'll be hearing him real soon. So, the cool stuff like that. Just trying to promote the hobby in a place where, it doesn't really exist, where young people might find it or become interested or whatever, it's just, it's a pretty cool platform and a good community we got going on here. I got a Discord channel too, but, you gotta decide if you are having fun or not yet before you jump into all that. But it's there. The guys like to chat. When I shut down the stream, obviously the chat goes away, but they can continue talking and everything on the Discord afterward.
It's a really cool idea, and it's interesting having the. I mean, it's part of why I'm so addicted to an SDR. Is there's something about just sitting and staring at it. It's just interesting to watch. So it's a neat backdrop for it too, instead of just hearing audio, of what we're talking about. There's an activity they can see operating the equipment. You got the pan adapter going, so you get an idea of what's happening. Pretty neat idea. And when I first started, I mean, I'm 52, and when I first started in radio, I was like 14, playing with walkie-talkies, soldering bigger antennas into them, tearing them apart. Cordless phones on 27 megahertz, and the only way for me to figure anything out was the ARRL handbook, which is like the size of a yellow pages. I didn't have any friends that worked at radio, anyone to ask. No internet. You're talking the 80s, basically. And, now it's unbelievable because you can, with YouTube videos, there's a video explaining almost anything about radio. And then streams like this, and then Reddit, and QRZ, and everything else. It's a whole lot easier to figure out, what's going on. And at least here we get to see demonstration of what it's all about. And it's a pretty fun frequency, actually, for people who are new and wondering if radio's any fun. Beats the heck out of listening to some kind of contest sweepstakes or whatever on 20 meters. KC2RGW.
Yeah, that's it. That's totally it, trying to provide a fun atmosphere where people come on and have fun. It's not like status quo ham radio. Everybody's having a good time. It's not like CQ, your 5 and 9, 7-3, QRZ kind of stuff. It's more relatable, It's people, it's like a chat room, But yeah, that's the thing. There's not a lot of representation of the hobby that isn't like, hi, fine business. This is my QRP transmitter, and I'm going to blah, blah, this and that. And kids don't care about any of that crap, but they see some people having fun, cutting up, like, hey, what are they doing? So that's the kind of the side of the hobby I like to promote. It doesn't have to be all high fine business, you can have fun too. W2BTK.
Yes, I'm slowly getting sucked into the window here. Just my observation. I've listened here for a long time. Before I finally got set up and jumped in here just recently, but the common thread of being interested in how radio actually works is pretty much in anyone that shows up, either here or on 85, period, end of story. And then you have just a crazy wide variety of backgrounds and personalities overlaid on that, and that common thread holds it together, which is an interesting part of radio in general. But, if you go further down the band, out in the sideband land, and you go band to band, each band kind of has its own personality to it in some ways. And there are pockets of varying, groups of people as you go through the band, which is an interesting thing. AM, there's spats here and there, and, I hear what goes on. But for the most part, everyone comes back on in the morning, and they're all right, and it's an interesting group that's up here, and I'm getting sucked into it very, very quickly. The amount of people running around with 7300s now, how long until you get a letter?
Oh, I don't know, W2BTK. I don't think that's, you're allowed to do digital stuff, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything they can complain about on that or not. You're going to open up a new request for comments coming up. I can just see it.
Yeah, well, I honestly don't think there's anything going on there that's not allowed. I mean, I'm identifying afterwards, and, you know, it's just audio stuff, digital audio stuff. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure that that's just fine. You know, I could do it with my voice, like, look, I'm drawing triangles. Like same thing. What?
I like the sound of the smiley face one. It sounds like an angry robot. That one has a funny sound to it.
Oh, the happy face one?
That one in particular has like a crazy, like angry robot sound to it.
Oh, yeah. It's, well, I mean, like I was telling you before, you generate the audio files with MATLAB, and it just plays whatever it needs to play to make, you know, whatever you want to make. Chinese amp is running nice and cool. I like this.
So that's just regular, it's not LD MOS, it's the just older style FETs on it.
Yeah, I don't even know what kind of MOSFETs they are. They're TO220 case, so they're just little tiny guys.
Yeah, I've been seeing they have a bunch of those little broadband suckers out there now. Kind of have my eye on it to grab one to play around.
The IQ stuff was a big hit in the chat. I'm gonna do a couple more. Yeah, how about that?
And YouTube can do the same thing for about $9,000 from Roden Schwartz. Yeah, you should send like a testimonial to Roden Schwartz thanking him for this device. This is exactly what I was looking for.
Well, you got a carrier in there. I don't know. That's not you, Chris, right?
No, I can hear you over and anyway.
All right. Yeah, no, it's, well, okay, so my buddy Jerry hooked me up with this thing. He thought it would be pretty hilarious, and I guess it is. I posted a link to his YouTube channel here. I think I still have it copied and pasted. Yeah, so that's his YouTube channel. I just posted a link in my Twitch chat. You can check it out. He makes videos about all this stuff. And he's good with it. He's working on a homebrew IQ modulated deal with dual DDS VFOs and some mixers and things like that. Like all stuff you can buy for cheap from like mini circuits or whatever. And he's working on something like that just so you know you don't need a high dollar vector signal generator to do it in the future. And you know that'll be, I'm sure that he'll have videos on that once he completes the project and everything. But you know, it's just kind of just testing the waters, and trying to do something a little different.
You've got your stream going and you're doing your thing, and my wife's in the other room doing nerdcore hip-hop. The Schaefer, the Dark Lord, and some other guys are doing a live concert tonight. So we have, we're pulling all the bandwidth down out here in the sticks. I'm gonna wind up dropping packets here soon. I can almost guarantee it. AC2R, GW.
Yeah, W2BTK. Yeah, I try to be careful while I'm live streaming not to open too much crap and, have too much internet bandwidth going. So I'm streaming about 4,700 KB per second. 0 dropped frames so far in, let's see, we've been live for about 50 minutes and 19 seconds here. So that's good. Internet is happy tonight. But, yeah, I know what you mean. I upgraded my internet to, I guess I have 100 down and 15 up now, but those numbers are so crappy for the uploads. You have to pay a crazy amount of money, and then you get stupid download speeds that you don't even need just in order to up your upload speed. So my ISP doesn't have a very good package for people who want to upload stuff. But, I upgraded the thing because I was having dropouts and all kinds of problems and whatnot on their low tier, 25 down, 5 up package. So I upgraded that thing. It's been great so far, but, it's, you get that monthly bill, but it's worth it, because I don't have to worry about it. I can just sit here and have fun on the radio, and I don't have to keep checking my live stream and this and that. So I'd say that it's totally worth it. W2BTK, just to be very compliant here on the airwaves.
Do you see that solid digital line about 20K down from us, 3865 on center roughly? Just a solid strip of digital signal. Are you seeing that too?
Yeah, I'm totally seeing that. It's not super strong, but it looks to be just below 3865.
Yeah, it's a mystery to me what those are, because we're not in amateur mode. I've done free DV and some voice modes over the air, and an amateur is not going to be able to get that. Well, I shouldn't say that. Most people on amateur, it's going to be too intermittent to have a signal that persistent. And I suspect it might be government digital data transfer, because STANAG is one of the protocols the governments use. But I've noticed, I took 5 years off of radio, and coming back on, there's 10 of those now up and down 80 meters at different times, and they run for a long time. There weren't as many of those going back years back, so I'm just curious what they are. They're not wide enough to be DRM shortwave signals or anything like that. So I'm just wondering, it's some kind of telemetry or whatever, but it's interesting seeing them come and go.
Yeah, they're annoying. That thing has been on real close to 3885 before, so I don't know. Maybe you're right. I have no idea what that is, but I wouldn't be surprised. There's some kind of hush-hush stuff. Speaking of reverb, somebody's talking about reverbs in the chat. I'm going to turn my reverb on, man. Can you, Can you hear that reverb? Does it sound good?
You can hear it, but it's a little weird.
Yeah, it gets a little funky, especially, I guess, with QSB and stuff. I used to run it a lot, but I haven't been doing so much of that lately. But I might run the reverb a little bit tonight. Who knows? It's I can catch the very tail of my audio when I unkey while everything is changing over. So I kind of judge it by that.
Yeah, it doesn't sound terrible. but it's the noisiness of the band. If it was a nice dead still, like winter night with a quiet band, it would probably sound pretty cool. I played around.
Hey, man, thanks for the follow. MMR.
MIDI verb, I think it was called. It was the weird little tabletop flat one. I had one of those going for a while years back, but the signal has to be really strong and quiet, or just, people are always like, is there something, you got RF on your audio, or what's going on? It's hard to get it just right, and when it's noisy, it makes it weirder sounding.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, but hopefully I have enough signal to be able to use some reverb, but I definitely, the pattern on the scope definitely looks a little bit more aggressive when I don't do that. Like, I lose peaks when I run that reverb for whatever reason. Who's KD1 S? What was that? So you were like in a fade or something when you ID'd.
Who's that? Perpetual fade. Delta? I heard you guys talking about the reverb. I have Alexis reverb going here. I run it very, very, very low. I don't know if you guys notice it's in there. I've got to set up one hit, like one rebound off a wall, and that's all you get. So I don't know if you guys are noticing it.
No, it's definitely not obvious, and I think it's Bill. I'm pretty sure we've talked before. KC2 RGW. Yeah, and it's actually, if I didn't have all the noise in here, and this was as dead a room as I would want it to be, it actually helps, because by the time you gate everything down and compress it, it sounds like you're sitting in a coat closet talking. So if you just barely bring it in, it puts a little, room ambience. It's actually not bad, lightens it up. One of I talked to Julius a bunch of times, W2IHY, and one of the things I told him is he did a really great job with his box, because I believe, if I remember, I think he has reverb on one of his boxes, and it was like just the right amount to like just wet up the vocal after it had been heavily processed down.
Design hit the way boxes over here. Doesn't actually belong to me technically. A friend of mine owned it when I was running that for a while on my Ranger before I went over to this rig with a different audio track. But yeah, that is a very I actually like the box. Made primarily for Quadrature, but it's a nice little box. It has a very good compressor. It has a several EQ and a little noise threshold. It works quite well. I like it. But yeah, I find first with the reverb that you have to be very, very. You got to use a lot of discretion. Just a little bit goes a long way, and you want it to be barely noticeable. It just provides a little bit of a room effect, a little bit of room acoustic effect. For me, I like that because my voice is not really an expanding radio voice by any means, and it just helps. It helps what I would call picking up the voice just a little bit, but it doesn't take too much before you start sounding like some guy that calls himself T-Bone Jones on TV channel.
I was talking earlier, I used to, mixing in clubs and touring as a sound man, and it was back in the days of rack gear. That's why I still keep rack gear here. With this Anon, I don't even need rack gear. I could just run the microphone in the computer and away it would go. It's got everything that you need, really. But I just like playing with the rack gear, and I miss the days I was talking about how I used to set up all my own patches and the Yamaha, SP90, I think, SPX 900s. the Eventide Harmonizer is one of my favorite pieces of equipment too. And just like now where I wasted money for ham radio and rack gear, that stuff was just like so expensive for the money I was making using it. There was no return on investment at all, but I just liked having my own box of tricks. Having the whole portable rack I just drag around with me. The thing weighed like 100 pounds, and it was probably about 8 or 16 channels of compression, 8 channels of dating, and then like 3 different outboards, a Roland delay, Yamaha reverb, and I had a Lexicon reverb too. They had the nicest play reverbs, the Lexicon units, but man, they were expensive. KC2RGW.
I love those SPX 90s, man. Favorite reverb. And then, geez, the Eventide 3000, forget about it. That thing is so sick. I want one so bad.
Billy, what was that reverb that you were using there?
So that's it's actually a Behringer unit, but so Behringer's kind of funny like that. They make certain stuff that is like actually really good. This thing gets talked about a lot in the pro audio community. It's a Behringer V-Verb Pro REV 2496. So it competes with some high-end stuff. I mean, it's not a bad deal. I don't know if the setting I have on it right now, I just turned it on, so it might be a little goofy. It might not be dialed in perfectly, but if you go on, there's actually a pro audio forum, and the name is a little goofy. It's called Gear Sluts with a Z. They talk about them on there, and people are always looking for them. They're actually very hard to find. So that's the Behringer REV 2496, aka the V-Verb Pro.
Interesting. I'll have to check that out. I was thinking of something like what is the lower end Behringer virtualizer? I want to say I can't think of the model number on it. This little Oasis is I forget what I paid for this thing. $100, $200 maybe a few years back. The nice thing is that it gives you, what your Behringer does to it gives you a whole lot of different digital modes. From what they call a Hall, a simulated Hall, to what they call a plate, which I guess is made to simulate a middle plate. So sort of reverb, spring type reverb, there's all different kinds of frequencies. I just put it on delay, and I have it set to a program that gives you only one repeat, and I have the delay time set really, really short. It's almost unnoticeable. I can notice it if I listen to my audio through a pair of headphones and play it back, record it, play it back, and I can hear it. But it's very, very subtle. If I go too much, you might start noticing it a little bit more. Let me go over to the rig here. Turn it up just a little tiny bit. Okay, that's a little bit higher than where I would normally have it set, and you might be hearing that single hit rebound a little bit more dramatically right now. Katie, one essay.
Yeah, the static crashes, that's what I was saying earlier with Billy. The static crashes are so nasty, at least for me up here. And I think you're up this way too, if I remember. That it's too hard to tell. The signals just aren't holding it as heavily. They don't have the capture to quiet it all down. So it's kind of tough to tell tonight. Funny, the Behringer composers, I think they were the compressor gates. I love those things. I use those. I would be fine requesting those from SIR if I was putting a spec sheet out to do a gig even. Very good compressor gate, especially live sound. Studio, probably not. They're probably too noisy, but live, the composers were awesome. And then the other one, there's a really neat tool. It's the EQ 2496, which is the equalizer. It has a bunch of processing, compressing, limiting in it. And the functions were really cool, especially for the money. I went through two of them. It was pretty funny. Guitar Center in was it East Brunswick or whatever, around 18 when I was down there. So I picked it up, brought it home, and that thing did not like RFI button, man. I cooked it, and I was like, is this defective? All right. So I take it back. Guitar Center gives you another one, no problem at all. I bring that one home, clean that thing up after dialing the whole thing in again, got it right, got on the air with it, boom, cooked it again. There was something about that processor. I used to run terrible, random NFEDs running power on the high 80 when I was first figuring out my antenna situation. I had RF everywhere, and I'm pretty sure I cooked the processor with RF feedback in the shack from my NFED out of the manual tuner.
SIR. I forgot about those guys. You know, I used to call them. It was schmeep in red boxes.
The studio itself they would use for all kinds of weird record label showcase parties and bad promo video shoots and everything, and just the debauchery. I mean, you're talking about the middle of the afternoon when most normal people are at an actual job when you're in there doing those shoots and recordings, and just makes my stomach turn right now thinking about a full drunk at 6 p.m. after you've been drinking the entire business day away, and then everything else that goes along with it. That's their actual studio is just a mess to be in. KC2RGW.
Billy.
Daryl.
Hey. I got a 2496 right here. Man. Wow. I got a 2496 and a 24P. 2496. I got one, Billy.
The reverb unit? Hey, Daryl, why don't you slide that? We're on 3873. I don't want to interfere with the net that's happening on 3885.
You on 3873?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh boy, slid right there. Yeah. I caught the intel of it. You said 2496?
Yeah, well, they had a bunch of models that had 2496 at the end. This is the REV 2496. They have the DEQ 2496, which is probably what you have. And then, what did they have? Yeah, they've got a bunch of 2496 stuff, but you probably got the DEQ 2496, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I got that one. Just ain't never hooked the thing up.
Yeah, I doubled with Billy there. I was saying I killed two of them, and I think it was just RF feedback in the shack that actually killed them. I killed them. They were both brand new, and I killed them right away.
Yeah.
That DEQ
Yeah.
2496 thing, they cheaped out on that, in my opinion. It's got too much going on. They did it all with DSP, and the DSP's not that good, you know. They've got way better boxes than that. The 9024 multiband compressor kicks that thing's ass as far as dynamics processing, and then the 8024 EQ definitely sounds better. But, you know, how many rack spaces do you want to eat up on this stuff? I mean, it's a one rack unit that does it all, but it just doesn't do any of it that well, in my opinion.
How about the 9024?
That thing kicks ass, Daryl.
Got one of those. I got the 9024. On the gates when the gates get here.
Am I making it all tonight?
Yeah, hey, what's up, George?
Oh, wow. Actually, I am making it. I'll be damned. Hi. And good evening to all of you. Just wanted to make sure I'm making it here tonight. Didn't know conditions of it. I made a few changes here, so it's the concern. Signal and audio. Anyway, back over to you she goes, and again, good evening to all of you.
I'm going to jump out, guys. Billy, great catching up with you. But all you guys down there, it's like 30 over up here, and I'm sure I'm probably not getting back down there all that well with it either. But it's getting impossible up here to hear everything. So I'm going to bail out of here and go hit the TV. But 7-3 guys, always fun, and we'll catch you later. KC2 RGW, the sound of Deering, New Hampshire, the jewel of southern New Hampshire. Good night, guys.
Yeah, a.k.a. Cutie Pie. Chris, just so you know, I mean, you are maintaining, 40 to 50 dB over the static crashes, so you're doing just fine here, but I hear you. So, go relax, kick your feet up, do what you're going to do. Nice talking to you, man. Good QSO out here, W2BTK.
Chris, before you go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the other night, I was trying to get across during the day, I think, that night. Yesterday, I think it was. And the conditions were lousy between, I think of it. But thank you for still going to try to copy me, and of course, I couldn't copy you very well. So I just want to say thanks for my patience. Go ahead, Chris, and have a good night. Otherwise, I'll give it back over to you and the group. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, no problem, and thanks for the kind words. One thing with radio, I try my best to not get on the air if I'm ready to yell at the world, and I always try to help people out whenever I can, because I've learned an awful lot from other people on radio, so I'm always happy to help, always trying to make a contact with people, and always happy to give any advice that I can, because I wouldn't know half of what I know if it wasn't for other people. I'm an open source guy, I'm a Linux guy. My entire career because of people sharing information with me, so I'm always happy to try to make a contact with someone, and I try to be patient all the time. So on my epitaph, I want them to say he was a pretty good guy. Catch you guys later. KC2RGW.
Oh, Chris, before you go, you're sounding good down here on the Jersey side. You're cutting out the static crashes down here. So you don't gotta worry about a thing. Hello, George. KD2AFL, the glass bypass. And I will be listening with this transmitter.
7-3 there, Chris. 81 SE. Well, believe it or not, I think there was something jumped in here, so infrared intensity, by total buildings, yada. So we're not going to pick up this by.
Wow, George, that's you? Man, you sound good.
Propagation, trust me.
Nah, you're doing a good, nice signal and loud audio. So don't touch nothing. George, don't touch nothing. You're real loud. All right. KD2AFL, the glass from the fast station.
Hey, Daryl. I'm running a brand new exciter tonight. It's the Maiden Voyage. How does this thing sound? This is some high-tech, alien technology I got going on over here.
Sounds good, but somebody in there with you. You just heard him?
I hear some slop bucket down there, just below us.
Yeah. I guess we might. But sound good, Bill. I don't know. Just a slop bucket is in there. Maybe, we disturbing him.
No, probably not, but I got the Quadrature modulation tonight. Not plate modulated anymore, we're Quadrature modulated.
Oh, that sounds good. I almost couldn't tell.
I got some kind of intermittent crap going on when maybe my coax relay or my receiver here. I've been janking around the connections on this thing. It might be a little loose. I gotta look into that.
Oh, okay. All right, then. I'll be listening. Oh, where's Dave? He used to be out here. Where's Dave?
Wait, where's who?
Dave. Very weak.
Oh, very weak. Last I heard, he was in my Twitch chat. Dave has the night off, he says. So he's chatting in Twitch, and from what I understand, he's gonna get in the hot tub, and he may or may not have a receiver out there to listen to us on.
Oh, okay. All right then. All right, I'll be listening there. I think I'm gonna go to the fridge and find me something cold to drink. This is KD2 AFL. All right then. So Billy, W2BTK, I'll give it back to you. Run with it.
All right, and Dave says, "Hi, Daryl. Big amplifiers with a Z." That's what he has to say.
Wow. I'm looking at my 3CX 15,000. I'm looking at that in the corner. It's for the house in the Carolinas. I'm looking at a C3CX 15,000. Wow, been sitting here for about 3 years now. So that's for the Carolinas.
Oh, hell yeah, that's badass too. That's more or less what I got over here. I mean, I just loaf it, like really, really loaf it. And it's not a real 15. It's a YC156. So basically, it's like a 15 that's shoved into a 5000. So it's got a 3CX 5000 anode, but it's got all the guts of a 3CX 15. So you just need a lot of airflow. And right now I'm running at about, let's see, I got about 200 watts of carrier coming out of that thing right now. So it's laughing at me, Daryl. The grid meter ain't even moving. And it's saying, ha, that's all you want to do? It's calling me names, Daryl, but that's all right. I'm not trying to get myself in trouble over here. W2BTK.
Let me just pay attention to this. Yeah, what I mean. WB2 waving button.
Okay, George. Yeah, Billy, I know what you mean by getting in trouble. I need a separate 220 line. And I actually need 3 220 lines in here. And I ain't doing that mess. No, they want to put another meter in here and all that crap. So that's why I've been sitting in a corner for 3 years now. So when we get to the Carolinas, we will hook this thing up. All right. I'm gonna get out of here and go get me something to drink, and I'll be right back. Really, I'll be right back. Hold it down until I get back. This is KD2 AFL, the glass from the past station.
All right, sounds good, Daryl. I think I have like a cold solder joint on my attenuators or something over here. I've been plugging and unplugging my coax, wrenching them around. I'm going to try bypassing these attenuators and see if my receive problem over here doesn't clean up. If it does, I'm going to pull it out and then recap some solder joints over here. So give me 1 minute. I probably won't have receive for about 30 seconds to a minute. This is W2BTK, and Daryl, man, take care. Have fun in the fridge there. see if that doesn't fix it. W2BTK.
Sounds good over here.
Well, it's not gonna affect my transmit. I've been having a problem with kind of intermittent receive level, and I suspect that these attenuators that I have in line with my receiver are the culprit. And I got a BNC adapter here to barrel it through, bypassing all the attenuators, and I don't seem to be having the problem, but I'm going to run it for a few minutes, and we'll see what happens.
Sometimes a little shot of what do you call that stuff? Cleaner. Bayer Lube, or why am I forgetting the name of that cleaner? Got a whole bunch of it down in my shop there. Sometimes it just takes a little shot of cleaner into a BNC or something.
Yeah, it's something like that. Well, the problem is I've been screwing around. I'm actually running a vector signal generator as an exciter right now, and to test it, I basically, the output level of it can go down to like minus 120 dBm up to plus 16 dBm. So I'll run it real low output power directly into my SDR just to do testing and stuff. And I kind of got to wrench around on the BNCs and all that stuff to plug it in and out. So I've been doing that a lot lately, and I have a feeling that the little circuit board on these attenuators, maybe one of the solder joints is broken loose or is making kind of an intermittent connection, because I'm not having the problem anymore. And I was wiggling all that stuff around, and it was coming in and out. So now that I have it all barrel connected through, bypassing that circuit board with the attenuators on it, I'm not having any problems. So I'm going to pull that thing out tonight and see if there's any cold solder joints or anything like that, this is probably the case.
So what do you do with that vector signal generator? Is that what you're using to generate your quadrature modulation?
Yep. So right now I'm just feeding the I channel, and basically that's all you need to make normal AM. It's just an identical signal on both I and Q, and you'll have good old classic AM. But I have if I feed the I and Q inputs with like various different audio, I can make all kinds of different modes and all kinds of stuff. I was drawing pictures and writing stuff in the waterfall display before, and that's with the vector modulation. So I'm not using that right now, but if I was, I could do like independent sideband AM, stuff like that. But right now I'm just doing regular old analog broadband AM modulation with the thing. But it's a Roden Schwartz SMIQ 03B vector signal generator that I'm using as an exciter. And the output level on it, feeding the first amplifier stage, is about minus 17 dBm. So really, really, really low flea power.
Now that makes sense. I heard you mention quadrature modulation before. Ever saw a waterfall display. That was one of my first things. It wouldn't take a whole lot of fancy footwork to draw pictures. It allowed itself to that way. It was actually sounding pretty good. It sounds better than your Viking, but it sounds pretty darn good.
Yeah, thanks, man. It should be how did I get on 3874? It should be making pretty much close to perfect AM. You know what I mean? And are you listening on an SDR? Do you have a waterfall display? Because I could give you a demo of drawing pictures on the waterfall if you want.
I saw it before. Cool. I was in here listening earlier. I do a lot more listening than I do talking. I was talking to somebody on a lot of computers that had the SDR monitoring. Yeah, I'm in here listening a lot on 85 or here. So, yeah, I'm using an SDR. It's nothing sophisticated. It's just an RSP. SDR, RSP 9DX, RSP-DX. Nothing too fancy, but I like it. You know, it's funny because, in a way, like I've always liked the boat anchors. I like my boat anchor receivers. I like the way they smell. I like the smell of the hot vacuum tubes and the buzzardly look of the old things. So when I went over to the store SDR play, I loved the heck out of it. It's a cool little box, but being a boat anchor guy, I kind of feel like I've sold my soul and not even gotten a good price for it.
Yeah, the boat anchor stuff is all I did for a long time. It's, my comeuppance on AM here. I ran a Johnson Viking 2, and I still have that Johnson Viking 2 ready to go right now. It's just, this is kind of the maiden voyage of this IQ stuff, and it seems to be working, really well. I'm very happy with it. I don't know, it just works. But yeah, the boat anchor stuff is awesome, and I really like doing that. So, I'll be switching back and forth between my Viking 2 and this thing. And they both have cool stuff going on. I mean, the Viking 2 is externally modulated with a solid state audio amp and this and that and the other thing. But it's just having fun with ham radio,
Having fun with ham radio is what it's all about. Regardless of whether you're playing with transistors or tubes, having fun with ham radio is what it's all about. I'll tell you, I have not been an amateur for as many years as a lot of people hang around here. I've only been licensed since '93. But I've only been into AM for the last 2 years or so. And getting into AM is added so much new enthusiasm to the hobby, because when you're just playing around with Yaesus and Kenwoods and ICOMs right out of the box, there's only so much you can do. I work in electronics for a living. I'm working around B-Lab and I like thinking. This adds a whole new dimension of the hobby, because most of all the gear that I'm running, some of it, it's built into myself, rigs yet from the ground up. I'm modifying and tinkering with and restoring old boat anchors, and this is a DX60 here that you're hearing here. This is an old DX60, but it adds a whole new dimension to the hobby. It's a whole different. It's a whole other world than just taking a Yaesu or a Kenwood or an ICOM out of the box. It's an entirely different aspect of the hobby, and I just really love it. I remember a couple weeks ago, you were telling me about your external modulator for the Viking, the toroidal mod transformer and all that. That's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with, running a ICOM 7300 and just jumping on with an antenna you bought or whatever. That's fun too, but for me, that would get a little old. You got to experiment and build stuff and figure out. You got to progress. If you're not learning stuff, it gets a little dull. Not for everybody, but at least for me, and I think for a lot of people. But that external modulator, that taught me so much about tubes and boat anchors and this and that. It basically forced me to dive into the schematic of that Viking 2, figure out how to put it in, work around a bunch of problems, work with high voltage, be safe, this and that, the other thing. I'm working on this 1950s transmitter, and it was just a great experience. My buddy Dave W2VW, he had that Viking 2 kicking around. He actually gave me a different one at first to play with. but it was really janky, like borderline unsafe. So he took that one back and gave me, honestly, like a way nicer one that was pretty much stock. And said, "Here, kid, take this. Here's the schematic. Here's what you gotta do to externally modulate it. See if you can figure it out." And I spent a while doing that. I figured it out. I got on the air. I had a great time. And I didn't stop there. I kept going, doing cool homebrew stuff. So he's been a big help, a major influence to me. With all the boat anchor stuff and basically what I got going on here. Jerry, who I met recently, has been helping me with the IQ modulation stuff. He's another, Elmer of mine, showing me the ropes with this new stuff. And that's the thing about it. You learn crap. That's what's cool about it. If you go around and just swipe your credit card and plug stuff in, you can have a good time, but it's so much more rewarding when you're building stuff and it doesn't work and you fool around with it and then you get it working. You're just like, yes, and you get on the air and you have a good signal, and it's just like, you're 20,000 times more likely to stick with it at that point. You're invested. So that's how I look at it. W2BTK.
Unless you get yourself electrocuted, and then you don't stop. What did you say about that rating? Moderately dangerous? Some of them are. I've got a BMW 5100. It's on the bench downstairs. And that can be a dangerous rating. They bring up the line voltage, 117 AC, to a set of big terminal studs right on the back of the radio with no coverage or anything. So all you need is to be reaching around the back of that rig one day to tighten up the coax or something. And there you go. There's 117 AC in the back of the rig. They have you adjust a pot in there on the top of the chassis to set your modulator volumes. And when you do that, your knuckles are about a half an inch from the plate choke. So, dangerous stuff. I have to be careful because I teach myself bad habits on account of application. I work in an R&D lab and I work with electronics all day long, but for the most part, nothing that I work with, aside from regular AC line voltage, and most of our equipment doesn't run on AC, is all 12-volt DC, and once in a great while, 22, 24 or 48 volts, but it's pretty much all 12 volts, all 5 volts, 3.3, all that kind of stuff. So if I'm not careful, then I will teach myself bad habits, which can lead to a problem. So, just the other day I was working on a homebrew power supply for an amplifier, and I got that all kludged up on the bench, the amplifier deck and the filter deck and all that kind of stuff. All just lashed together, and checking the voltages on the output. And the meter that I'm using is an old Simpson 260 that in theory will go up to 5,000 volts, but I don't dare do it. But I went up to 2,500 anyway. That's an old meter. So, I was doing that, of course, with only one hand on the knob and the other hand in my pocket, and keeping a close eye on things, and knowing that at any moment there could be a great big flash and a bang, and pieces of that meter could be all over my shop. So it can definitely be dangerous. But you got to be careful and treat the stuff with respect, and just realize the fact that getting yourself killed is not cool. Katie, what is it?
Yeah, not cool at all. And the DX60 sounds really good, by the way. You're doing well. You kind of came up there on that last transmission. I get to really hear it. I like it. But yeah, your knuckles a couple inches or an inch from that plate choke. I don't know. See, Dave's whole thing, and he's taught me a lot of stuff, is there's always a way to do whatever the hell you need to do, your test, your tweak, your mod, whatever. You can do it without high voltage applied, if you think about it. I see guys on YouTube and they test, like plate transformers and stuff, and they use these big reduction probes or whatever, and they put the full voltage on the primary, and they're testing it through all this insulated gear and everything. Why don't you just put 10 volts on the primary and do a little math, and then you'll have some kind of safe voltage to work with on the other side. Stuff like that, But that original Viking he gave me, the reason he took it back, I think, is because it was modified, and whoever had done the mods, the B+ was always on. Like, you plug the thing in, and there was B+, like high voltage, 700 volts or whatever. And that wasn't that cool. He didn't want to give that to me like fresh into, like coming out of the CB radio world, just seeing my first boat anchor and whatnot. He didn't think that was very cool, so he took that thing back and gave me one that wasn't all hacked up. But yeah, I mean, that's really cool. I'm an electrician these days, so, I've kind of got a respect for that kind of stuff. I don't really dive in, stay cool, and, but, like I said, there's if you use your head, there's usually a way to do whatever the hell you need to do without high voltage. Sometimes there's an exception to that, but for the most part, you never have to have high voltage around to do anything. It can either be done cold or with reduced voltage from a variac or this or that or the other thing. But that's the rule of thumb. You definitely came up on that last transmission. That was pretty cool. And I definitely like the way that DX60 sounded.
Well, not bad for a radio that's probably almost as old as me. It has the Steve mods in it, the QIX mods. So it is no longer controlled carrier. It's an entirely different critter. And nothing fancy. Audio Technica AT 2020 DBX 286S microphone 3. In that little Oasis reverb there, just to picking out my audio. Well, I don't need to, other than what comes with the tuning sets here. So, that BMW, I got myself a long screwdriver. It's about 12 inches long, maybe 14 inches long. Covered in pressure at the inside, and that's what I use to adjust that bias pot on the modulator. And yeah, you're exactly right. A lot of times I will be playing around with a transformer or something, and like you say, all you need to do is do the math. Crank up the variac just a little bit, bring the output up to maybe 100 volts in a second. Now you know what the turns ratio is. But of course, there are times when you want to make sure that you take the voltage, all that. But, and I have a lot of patience when it comes to working on high voltage stuff. The last thing I want to do is what I would do at work on my bench in the lab. Go in there and start moving test probes around. Okay, let's take a look at that. And you reach in there and put the test probe on it. I'm going to measure this test. And then you reach in there and you move your scope probe or your tester to another point, and then you put another probe right in there. I am not going to do that with the high voltage stuff. I'll have patience. I'll turn it off, wait until the bleeders do their job, go in there and move my test point, and then turn it back up. And if that means waiting for the tube filament to go on back up, well, there you go. I'll have patience. Maybe it takes me a little longer. I'm not going to let aside that rig while it's powered up and start moving my test probe and stuff like that. Getting killed only happens once. That's all it takes is once. It's a dangerous business if this isn't truthful. I understand that I teach myself bad habits when I'm working with all other stuff at work. I used to work in an aerospace company back in the 80s. And they used to make this inlet de-icing gear for the B-1 bomber. Back in the day, we used to do that work for North American Rockwell. And this thing ran on 440 volt, 400 cycle 3-phase. And right next to the tester It was this great big insulated hook on the wall. They had a big long handle on it, and a big rubber insulated hook on it. And of course, the first thing you're going to ask when you're being trained on that gear, what's that hook for? And of course, they tell you, that's so that if you get yourself across a wire circuit over here with that big hook, and they can pull your smoldering carcass off the rig. So, you know, that hearing that can't help but instill a little bit of caution in you. You know, puts the fear of God. What do you want to say?
Yep. Well, I think I might cruise out of here, go see what else is going on around the house. My cat's getting into trouble over here. She's getting a little rambunctious. And the lightning crashes are getting a little rambunctious too. Been in QSO for almost 2 hours here. So, yeah, this is the maiden voyage of the IQ modulated exciter, so I'm pretty happy that it held together, and it seems to be just chugging along here. So anyway, I'm gonna probably get off the radio here, and I'm running a live stream right now. I'll go chat with my chat here for a little while before I shut that down, and you know, just kind of hang out. But real nice QSO, and hey, thanks for that. So gonna slide on out of here. I'll be listening out a little bit. Getting a little bit tired of the lightning crashes, though. You know, the summertime conditions kind of suck. So anyway, it's W2BTK, and I want to listen out for a minute.
All right, Billy, very good. Yeah, summertime conditions get tiresome in more ways than one. I was looking forward to October, and static crashes. I spend a lot of time on 6 meters. I do some 6 meter flying. I'm not used to that. And the continuous crackle and crunch here on this can kind of wrangle you. It has been good. And looking like maybe it's all locked down up on the now. So yep, I've seen your live feed before. Matter of fact, sometimes when I'm laying in bed, I'll be laying in bed reading, and I've got my Kindle on wide, and plug over to either a web SDR or a live feed. Or a little bit of listening to TV, and I'll say a little or whatever. So that's what it's cool. All right, very good. I will let you go. I'm going to get a nice cool shower and fire up the window fan in the bedroom and get things chilled down. The wife is sound asleep out in the other room. And that's it for me. 7-3.
Hey guys, so how about that, man? We got the vector signal generator rocking there. Did the close-up. So Jim, yeah, this thing right here, this is the vector signal generator that Jerry hooked me up with, and that's the SMIQ 03B, Roden Schwartz, and that's what I'm using as an exciter tonight. So this is generating the RF that I'm amplifying up with. Well, I don't know if you can see. There's a little. Oh yeah, my mic boom's in the way. There's a little Chinese focus. So see that whole piece of crap right here. That's a little MOSFET amp. So this coax right here that I'm wiggling comes right out of the SMIQ into that thing, and that's driving my big amplifier in the other room there. So that's what I'm. That's camera piece of shit. Come on now. That's what I'm on the air with tonight. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. Oh Rick. Oh jeez. So yeah, that's it. That's the Roden Schwartz signal generator, and that's what I've been talking on the air with all night, and using that to generate the, you know, the words and pictures and stuff in the waterfall, which are fun and you know, not against any rules, by the way. Yeah. So it's a cool little thing. I mean, basically, like all SDR transmitters that you get, like Anons or Flexes or whatever, they use IQ modulation just like this thing, but this is a little different. Those are restricted. This has literally no limits. So, no. Well, yeah, the MOSFET amp, I'm getting about 10 watts out of that. I think it's capable of about 30 watts, but I'm driving it with a minus 17 dBm level and getting about 10 watts out of it, and that drives, you know, the amp in the other room for, you know, 150, 200 watts carrier, something like that. And it's a nice, man. It's nice. So you know, yeah. Hopefully it sounds good. I'm gonna listen back, see how it sounds, but it should literally be making perfect AM. That's what's nice about that thing. I mean, I could put square waves into it, and it would still make perfect AM. So yeah, that's the new setup that I'm screwing around with. I'm still gonna use the Viking some nights or whatever, but like this is a new thing here at W2BTK land. Well, yeah, I mean, I was doing some IQ images before. I'm gonna post this up on YouTube, and you can. I'm not exactly sure at what time of the video I was doing that, but I was definitely doing some images and some stuff that I wrote. Like literally, Jim, I'll make a file in MS Paint, and you have to do a little bit of math. So the height and width in pixels of that image divided by your bandwidth is going to give you the amount of time or the length of the audio file. So say it's like 300 by 400 divided by 1100 kc, and it'll be, you know, like 6 or 7 seconds. Maybe my math is a little off, but that's usually what I go with. So yeah, exactly. MATLAB. You throw it in MATLAB. There's a few lines of code that you have to run, and that'll turn the image that you make in Microsoft Paint into an audio file that you can play into the I and Q inputs of this, and it'll literally draw it out on the waterfall spectrum display. So it's pretty cool stuff, man. And that's like complex AM, technically like independent sideband AM, or maybe double sideband. I'm not sure how much carrier is there, but you know, it's it's good stuff, man. It's really good stuff. Like kind of cutting edge, fun to play with, that's for sure. And like I said, Jerry hooked me up with all that. I'll plug his YouTube channel again if you want to watch like cool videos about IQ modulation and this kind of stuff. That link that I just posted there, that's Jerry's YouTube page. And he's got all kinds of videos that you'll find very interesting if you're into this kind of stuff. So he's kind of been showing me the ropes. Raspberry Pi, yeah, I mean, I could probably do it with a Raspberry Pi to control stuff, but you're going to need some kind of RF signal generator anyway to, you know, make the RF. The Raspberry Pi doesn't have like an RF output on it, but you could probably use that to generate the audio files or whatever. But you still need something like this to make RF to get on the air. But it can do RF. Well, I obviously don't know a lot about the Raspberry Pi then. You have to show me some of that stuff. The Raspberry Pis I have here, I just use as like DNS sinkholes to block ads and crap. They're just, you know, like little computers, basically. But yeah, you post the link on Discord. Awesome, man. And those of you joining in who are maybe new or don't know about it, I have a Discord server. So like, if you're into this and you want to chat with people after I shut down the stream, you can hop on the Discord server and like continue your conversation. So, I guess that's going to be about it for tonight. I mean, a little bit of a shorter stream. The conditions suck, man. Like, it's really hairy out there. There's not a lot going on tonight anyway. So, guess I'll call it quits there. But this has been a great trial run of this thing, the IQ modulator. It's working great for me. And, let's see. My All-Star node is Raspberry Pi. It's a small radio attached to it. I don't honestly know that much about Raspberry Pis, so you guys could probably teach me something about that. But anyway, I'll upload this, live stream as usual to YouTube, and you can check it out if you want to see like the quadrature modulation stuff I was doing, drawing pictures in the waterfall or whatever. It'll be up there. Links, where is it? Yeah, there's 631NJ. That's my YouTube channel. So, yeah, 7-3 everybody. Jim, Giant, everybody who's still hanging out. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight, man. It's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate you guys being here, showing interest in the hobby. You guys think this is cool? Then you are definitely friends of mine. So 7-3 everybody. Oh, you know what I should do? I should see if my boy Steve Happens is streaming right now, because anytime he's streaming, I like to throw him, the raid. But it doesn't look like he's on. So I'm going to just end the stream here. I actually really got to go to the bathrooms. I'm going to run out of here, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Peace out, and we'll see you next time, everybody. Have a good night.